Up, guys? LQ here with the LQ review. Thank you so much for joining me right here at my YouTube channel. This is where I talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that I love to talk about. Movies, video games, comic books, and TV shows. And right now I'm going to give you guys a movie review. And, alright, here we go. So, when you decide what kind of media that you're going to buy, like renting, that's whatever. You know, when you rent something, you rent it because for me, when I rent something, it's because, I don't know if I want to buy this. I'm going to rent it, you know? Especially if it's something new that I've never seen before. If it's something that I saw it in theaters and I know that I liked it, when it comes out on digital, I'm gonna buy it, right? But if it's something that I've never seen before and it comes out on digital, I'm usually like, I'm going to rent it. And I didn't do that this time. I bought it. So, Saltwater, The Battle for Ramree Island. It's the movie that I'm reviewing right now. And it's a crocodile attack movie. And I'm a sucker for shark attack movies, crocodile attack movies. You know, anything that's living under the surface of the water that attacks people, I'm a sucker for those movies. Even the bad ones, I just enjoy them. I don't know. I guess I like self-punishment. I don't know. But usually there's plenty of streaming options out there. Like, I think Amazon Prime alone probably has 100 shark and gator movies that you can just watch on Amazon Prime. So there's a lot of options out there. So I usually don't drop the money to buy the direct-to-video shark and gator movies. Usually I'll wait till they come out on streaming, or if it's something that I want to review, I'll rent it. Well, I saw this. I didn't even know this was a movie. And I saw it. I was going through Voodoo, and I was going through the movies that were new this week, and I saw Saltwater, The Battle for Ramree Island. All right, I'm a history buff. I'm a history major. I teach history, and when I saw Saltwater, The Battle for Ramree Island, and then I saw some soldiers holding their machine guns with a giant gator behind them, kind of sneaking up on him, I was like, yes! Yes, yes, yes! And I immediately clicked purchase. I didn't even, like, it was a response. It was a response, like, just this, it was almost like muscle memory, like, I gotta have this, boop, 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 boop. And, alright, so the Battle for Ramree Island was a World War II battle, where the Japanese had taken this island off of Burma called Ramree Island, this small little swampy island, and the British are coming in to take this island back. I think it's the British. I'm pretty sure it was the British. It might have been the Americans, but I'm pretty sure it was the British. They're coming in to take this island back. And they end up pushing the Japanese into the swamp. So the Japanese are in full retreat, and they end up retreating into this swamp. Turns out this swamp on Ramree Island was filled with saltwater crocodiles. And this is a true story. Like, this actually happened. The British could hear throughout the course of the night, the British could hear the Japanese screaming, shooting their guns, screaming, because they were literally being attacked by dozens of saltwater crocodiles. Very few Japanese actually survived this experience that they had on Ramree Island. Some did, but not many. Some of them died of combat wounds, obviously, but a lot of them were taken by saltwater crocodiles. And I've always thought to myself, man, this should be a movie. This would be cinematic. Someone should make a movie out of this. And I've been thinking that for years. Literally for years. And then, just yesterday, I'm going through Voodoo and I see Saltwater, The Battle for Ramree Island. And I'm like, click! I didn't even consider the potential downside of this. I just paid my $10. I paid my $10 because I wanted to watch Saltwater, The Battle for Ramree Island. I wanted to watch this historical event unfold on screen. And that's not what I got. Like I don't know. It's one of those things where I should have thought to myself, they're not gonna make that. So what this movie is about, it's about a group of British soldiers and an Indian soldier who are all incredibly poor actors. Just scraping the bottom of the barrel, not even as good as local theater actors. Really bad. But this group of British soldiers, they are attempting to circumnavigate Ramree Island because they want to basically do some recon so that the British can bomb the Japanese armaments that they have on Ramree Island accurately. That's what the movie is. And then at some point they get off schedule and they decide that they're going to have to cut through the swamp. And of course, when they cut through the swamp, there's the Ramree Island alligators. So, to my disdain, my disappointment, my anger, this wasn't even an adaptation of what happened in real life. Like, it happens during World War II, but it wasn't even an adaptation of what happened in real life. It's a completely fictionalized version of nothing that happened. Like, I don't know. It's like they take this awesome story in history, this tragic story in history, but the story, this is a story that's like bigger than life. Like if it didn't really happen, you would think it had to have been fiction. That's Ramree Island. And then they tell this little tiny story about 5 guys trying to cut through the swamp on Ramree Island. And they say it's inspired by a true story. No, it's not. Nothing like this actually happened. At all. Couple that with the fact that, number one, the acting is really bad. Number two, there's very little crocodile action in this movie. Very little. There's an attack early on. There's an attack about midway through. And then at the end, there's a series of attacks. But when you look at the runtime of this movie, it's an hour and 22 minutes. And it feels long. And when a movie is an hour and 22 minutes and it feels long, they're doing something wrong. Because this felt like it took forever. The alligator sequence, or the crocodile sequences, it looked like there was no CGI in this. You know, this is probably one of those situations where the filmmakers were like, we're going to make all the fans happy because we're not going to use CGI. And it looks even worse. Like, you can tell, it's a hand puppet. It's a hand puppet. That's what they're using for the alligator scenes. They use stock footage of real life alligators, and then they use a hand puppet when it needs to bite a person. And they use like a fake leg or a fake arm or whatever. I'm sorry. I'm not one of those anti-CGI people. CGI is a good thing. CGI is a good thing in movies. Absolutely, it can be overdone. Absolutely. Absolutely, it should be used to enhance practical effects. But CGI is a good thing. And there was no CGI in it, probably because they couldn't afford it. All that they could afford was a Walmart alligator puppet. That's like the alligator sequences, it would be close up of the alligator puppet, guy screaming, ah! Another close up of alligator puppet, guy screaming, ah! And then you'd see the guy get slid through the dirt. That's it. That's it. This was bottom of the barrel animal attack sequence. Bottom of the barrel. There's not much else to say about this, guys. This movie was really bad. This was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. This was an hour and 22 minutes. It felt very long, and that's because, for whatever reason, this filmmaker, Steve Lawson, this filmmaker decided that he would put in about 7 or 8 long dialogue sequences. Now, I'm pretty sure that he probably felt like he was character building. The problem was that nobody cared. The movie was so bad that nobody cared about character building. And quite frankly, the dialogue was poorly written and uninteresting. So even if you cared about the characters, even if you're one of the few people who cared about the characters in this movie, you get lost in these long sequences of dialogue because it was uninteresting and poorly written and just poor choices for storytelling. Everything about this movie was bad. It was I wasted $10 here. It was an absolute total waste. I will never watch this movie again. And there it sits in my digital library right now. I'll never watch it again. It was awful. Just awful. This movie is an F. And I don't give a lot of Fs to movies, but this movie gets an F. Saltwater, The Battle of Ramree Island is an F. What did you guys think of Saltwater, The Battle for Ramree Island? Did you know it existed? Have you watched it? Do you care to watch it? Are you a history guy like me who's super disappointed because it wasn't actually about Ramree Island? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this, if you have any thoughts at all. It's literally making me dumber talking about it right now. So I don't know. I don't wish that on any of you guys. So anyways, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I put out a lot of content and I want to make sure that you're up to date with everything that I'm doing. And as always, thank you so much for joining me right here at the LQ Review, where we get to talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that we love to talk about. Until next time, we'll see you guys later.